There's a certain level of stuff with PALWORLD and Baldur's Gate 3 that I gotta talk about, especially with the comments section that I've been getting. One person in particular, the comments have been completely unhinged. I don't know how else to describe this. Probably gonna put them up on screen and editing, but I don't have them in front of me right now because, of course, I'm trying to do this on the go, and brings up an important question. The first one here is Baldur's Gate 3 a LGBTQ game? Is it a ally style game? As they've commented in, I believe, their last comment about it. And I never saw the game as something like that. Uh, from my understanding, the game has the fundamentals of Dungeons and Dragons, but they pushed the narrative of it being romance and pushed the narrative of being able to have sex with your player characters and your NPCs, which honestly, when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, was never about that. It never was the game for doing just having sex with your characters. Dungeons and Dragons has always been a sword and sorcery where you bring in the fantastical, the fantasy, dragons and magic and all this other stuff, and just have fun with it. And it was never about sitting there and romancing the NPC. Sure, these things happen in it. When the marketing aspect of it is all about the romance, is all about things getting banned on TikTok, namely the sex with a bear. That's absolutely absurd. Now, when it comes to Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, 1 and 2 was rated quite lower, I believe in the teen range, if I remember. And Baldur's Gate 3 became a very adult game, very quickly. Adult situations, adult things. And because of that, you got to sit there and go, well, this was never marketed in such a way, even though it's a game that truly is more for teenagers. Well, you're 16, 17, 15, getting into Dungeons and Dragons and playing along with your friends. That's about where I started playing the game, and if this is the introduction to it, it's kind of like, I just don't know. Bringing it back to PALWORLD, you got to sit there and go, well, PALWORLD is this Pokemon-ish or Pokemon-inspired game, and has nothing really to do with that. I know, like Cult of the Lamb, they added the sex update after they got so many likes on it, and you know what? Having a goal like that and having things like that to be added to the game later on and down the line is whatever. And from everything I saw with Cult of the Lamb, it wasn't in your face about it. It never was in your face about it. Where Baldur's Gate 3, they made it in your face. And PALWORLD doesn't even really deal with that. Sure, there's breeding aspects with the pals and all this other stuff, and you get things, but that's part of part of this style of game. Is you're raising pretty much at this point an army of pals to do your bidding and go along with your world. And to sit there and say that the game is stolen, well, the game's doing something unique, something that we haven't seen in games before, although it's taking from many different games that we've seen before. It's like Call of Duty and PUBG and all these other ones. PUBG got very, very popular very quick with the Fortnite style battle base or battle island, and it became more of a much more realistic game in that sense, where you land, you find your loot, and it became a very fun game, and that's why it stays very high on the charts. When you look at Apex Legends too, they're very much the same as that survival gunfire, King of the Hill type of game. PALWORLD does something more, and they create a progression tree that looks like it's very well thought out. They have a leveling system, which the leveling system it gets you behind. You're behind a certain point with the game where you need to level up and progress in order to unlock things, and that drives people to play the game more. It has you spend more time in the game and has you just playing the game. I'm seeing clips online where they're throwing pals into bazookas and firing them across the land and blowing things up that way. I actually enjoying seeing the clips that are out there. And I do want to get more back into this very, very soon, because I do try to live stream every Friday, Saturday night. Back to the comments of the person. I have to take it all with a grain of salt. There's people on both sides of the aisle, and one person's going to sit there and tell me that everything's wrong. They're going to call me whatever name they want to call me. That's what they're entitled to do. And if that makes you happy, then have at her. But still, when you sit there and you tell me that that PALWORLD is stolen from Pokemon, well, Pokemon stole it from Dragon Quest then, and Temtem, and all these other games that have come along. The ROM hacks that you can get of Pokemon, where you've completely changed up the game. Fan-made edits. Look at Five Nights at Freddy's. There's been so many fan games that are out there that with Five Nights at Freddy's, but you don't see everyone clamoring about how these games can't exist. And I think that's the difference here with PALWORLD. PALWORLD did this with almost a $7 million USD budget, and they've done it better. They've done these games way better than what we've seen from multi-billion-dollar companies right now, and with a shoestring budget and shoestring team. Like, where did they go wrong? And they haven't done wrong. They've even done the progression to get to the point that they're at. I'm also seeing wire models of PALWORLD for the rig system that they used for all of their animations and for their characters that they've added into the game. There are over 100 different characters in the game that they've added, or 100 different pals that they put, and they all have their unique featuristics. They all have unique attacks. They all have uniqueness to them. So how is that stolen? In order to do that on a mass scale like they've done here, and then for people to sit there and say that they stole it directly from Pokemon, well, let's see Pokemon do this. Let's see Pokemon put this up there and put it into a game like this, where you can completely use and abuse the entire system of the game and have the fundamentals of the game behind you, and then just be able to play and have fun. And now you can sit there and you can open up to multiplayer. You can play on a server. People are already setting up dedicated servers for this. This thing's going to be as big as Minecraft at this point, and it's going to be along for a very long time. And I haven't seen the hype on a game this large in a long time, and there are so many detractors. What is the difference between this and going to Minecraft for the Pixelmon mod? On top of this, someone on Nexus Mods, they're now removing mods that have been made for this game, where you can change everything to the original Pokemon from the game. That there's a little bit more, you can say a little bit more to the IP of it, but it's not. It's a mod now, and what do you do with that? They're removing these mods, is what I'm seeing, and that really is a shame. Where does the removal stop for a game where you just want to have fun? You just want to do something more, and and everything gets an attention out of it. But people are behind these things. They put hours of their hard-earned lives into these mods that go out there. And yeah, PALWORLD came out. It took them 3 years to create the game, but it took 3 days to make the mod. When you see the comments that I've had, when you see that, yeah, I don't like Baldur's Gate 3, but I don't have to play the game, and I'm never going to play the game. It was never marketed in a way that I would ever want to play this game, and that was where I stand. But to sit there and tell me that it's an LGBTQ, if you're not playing this game, you're an alt-right bigot, I sit there and go, really? Really? It's a video game. Someone, Larian Studios put together a game that honestly did look amazing at one point, and then they added things into the game that just turns me away from it, and I just don't want to go into that. Adding in jiggle physics after the facts for your ball sack, it's absolutely not the type of game that it belonged in. Not like your dead or alive fighting video game where you have the anime style characters bouncing around the jiggle physics. It's not that style of game, and it never was. And to add it in there out of the blue, yeah, it creates some great memes, but was it really necessary? And what kind of statement are they trying to make with that? Yeah, to me it just looks like they're just trying to stay relevant as a video game by adding in something controversial like that just to keep people talking about something different. And if that's the case, then I still stand by everything that I've seen with Baldur's Gate 3. It's not the top of the line game. It's a game of the year. What is it? 17,000 different choices you can make in this game. That amount of dialogue for a game is absolutely a slogfest. And honestly, I'd rather just watch a soap opera with my mom on a Friday afternoon. Like that. That's where I see the game is right now. Those of you that are actually enjoying Baldur's Gate 3, kudos to you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you continue to play the game through hundreds and hundreds of hours of this game. Because you know what? You paid for it. You got a great game out of it and have fun. But it's not a game I'm going to play, and I'm going to sit there and talk about the things that I just don't like about it. And if you got a problem with that, let me know down below. PALWORLD, what they're doing in PALWORLD, I think is a very unique game. I think it's something that's changed up the idea of the pocket monster, of the Fortnite. I wouldn't be surprised to see a multiplayer PvP mod come out very soon for this game, because that's where it's headed. You're going to see adaptations of this. You're going to see Fortnite probably steal more of an adaptation of this, like they did with Only Up, where they created an Only Up in Fortnite. That was something else that I did see. And Only Up was an asset flip. That's we know that, but it was a fun asset flip, and it gave a very unique, inspiring thing with the asset flip and how fast they made that game. That's why it was an asset flip. PALWORLD has done it very differently. Yeah, they've used a few assets here for like the human interactions. The game's got its bugs. The game's still in early access, and it's this popular. When it comes out in full launch, this game is going to be absolutely something to write home at. This is the hype behind this game, and hopefully they add in little details of storytelling and lore and all these hidden things that you can find in it, and you're going to see a lot more of it. It's a real shame that MatPat's retiring off game theory, because this is probably one of their next game theories down the line. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've been your proud Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I'm signing off here. Have yourselves a good day.